Can you understand a person whose heart beats but has no emotions? A boy who does not talk much and is not very visible. There are no special expressions on his face, no feelings in his eyes. He sits quietly in the corner of the class, as if he has nothing to do with this world. People ignore him. They think he is just another average student, but in reality, he is watching everything. Every move, every expression, every reaction. He is silently observing. His silence is his greatest strength. Some people wear masks, but some people are the mask. And this boy is a walking mask. He does not show anything, but he understands everything. As if every person is a chess piece and he himself is standing outside the chessboard, controlling the game. Have you ever thought about how the mind of such a person works? Who considers emotions as weakness? For whom trust is just an illusion? For whom friendship is a tool? And whose every step is calculated? This boy is always among everyone, but no one can know him, because he has hidden himself not from the world, but from himself. Manipulation is an art for him. Silence his armor. He does not need to show power, because those who have real power keep it hidden. And when the time comes, he makes one simple move and changes the direction of the entire world. This is the story of that boy who appears average, but is actually a mastermind inside. Ayanokoji Kiyotaka, the one the world could not even recognize, but who had already understood the world long ago. The White Room. The name sounds as simple as the reality is terrifying. A place that was not like any school or training center. It was a lab. A lab that changed not human bodies, but their minds and souls. A place where children are not born, but are created. The White Room is a metaphor. A place where humans are not treated as humans. No mother's love, no father's smile, no birthdays. There was only one objective: to create a perfect human. A person who is emotionless, logical, and completely under control. Ayanokoji's childhood was spent there. Shortly after birth, he was separated from this world. He was not shown the normal reality of the world. There was no friendship, no compassion, no freedom. Only rules, tests, punishments, and ruthless training that taught him every day that emotions are his biggest weakness. There, every child was a project. Their purpose was performance. If you lost, you were unworthy. If you cried, you were weak. If you showed compassion, you had succumbed to distraction. Ayanokoji understood all this very quickly and made a decision. He would not form any attachments. He would not trust anyone and would completely mold himself according to the situation. His conditioning was so deep that gradually he became detached from human emotions. He was taught that love is just an illusion and sympathy is a trap. Isolation had become his reality. He did not want to stay away from others. Rather, it did not matter to him at all. When a child never feels that he is being loved and his value is determined only by his utility, can he still be called human? The White Room stripped away Ayanokoji's humanity. He was trained like a machine to develop a brain that does not know defeat, can easily manipulate any human, and can see every situation like a chessboard. His instructors tested him repeatedly, with pain, with fear, and sometimes with betrayal. No relationship, no trust could last long, and gradually, he accepted that only one thing is true in the world: power. Emotional connections make you weak, and control is the ultimate goal. But here an emotional contradiction also arises, because whatever he learned was not his choice. He was forced to become like this, a child who just wanted love, but was turned into a cold experiment. The White Room could make him a genius, but not a human. In his eyes, the world is an equation. People are variables and outcomes are decided only by logic. But still, somewhere in that depth, a question must be hidden. If humanity is taken away from a human, does he really remain alive? Ayanokoji today is a mirror of that system which crushes emotion in the name of perfection. And this is the origin of that mastermind who stays in the shadows but controls others' worlds. This story is not just about one boy. It is a question for the entire society. Are we creating systems that give birth to brilliance? Ayanokoji Kiyotaka's school life. He is much more in reality than he appears. On the surface, if you look, he seems like a completely average student. Neither high marks, nor any attention-seeking behavior, nor interest in any activity. In the classroom, he often sits in the back, without any expression, as if he is a background character. He knows how to show the world that he is nothing special, but what is visible is not always the truth. Ayanokoji's personality is divided into two parts. One side is kiyotaka that everyone sees, and the other side is Ayanokoji, the hidden mastermind inside. At school, he deliberately shows himself as average. This is not a mistake or weakness. It is a strategy, a kind of strategic invisibility where you appear so normal that no one pays attention to you. When no one is watching you, only then can you silently control the game. This invisibility is his strength. People should think he is weak, confused, or uninterested so that no one notices the real moves. This calculated submission is a planned illusion. His emotionlessness is not his weakness, it is his armor. Where other students react under the influence of friendship, jealousy, ego, and emotions, Ayanokoji remains completely cold, calm, and detached. His ability to stay calm even in chaos is his most dangerous quality. Once, when the entire class starts breaking apart from group conflict and people start fighting with each other, even then Ayanokoji remains completely composed. He observes everything. Who is saying what? How someone's reaction is? Who can be manipulated? And then slowly he makes a move that brings the entire situation under his control. He helps anyone but never showily. His favors are transactional. There is a motive hidden behind every help, and he reveals when he wants that he is the real mastermind. In Classroom of the Elite, when there are group exams, Ayanokoji intentionally hides his capabilities. Until necessary, he never shows leadership. But as soon as things become critical, he quietly handles everything, and no one even knows when, how, and why. His calmness is like hypnosis. When everyone is panic, he is calculating. When people are fighting, he is manipulating. And when everyone is giving up, he is already silently won. This duality, Kiyotaka versus Ayanokoji, is not just a mask, but a complete system. A system that makes him a socially invisible ghost and also an ultra-logical strategist. Detachment is a survival strategy for him. He has learned to block emotions because he knows emotions blur decisions, and where there is no clarity, there can be no control. Ayanokoji keeps his real self hidden because he knows that if people see his real strength, they will either be scared or target him. That is why he always remains a simple boy. A boy who just passes, gets average marks, and just stays to himself. But inside, he treats every conversation, every face, every relationship as a strategy. For him, friendship is not a distraction but a tool. Trust is an illusion that is easy to break, and humans are variables that can be used. Perhaps that is why Ayanokoji is both frightening and earns a strange respect, because he is doing everything we cannot even think of, and that too so silently, as if nothing happened. His greatest strength is that no one takes him seriously, and this is his biggest victory, that he takes everything seriously. Kiyotaka Ayanokoji is not just a name, but a mask, and behind that mask are the eyes of a person who sees the world in its truest form and controls it. Ayanokoji Kiyotaka's mind operates completely differently from a normal human. Where decisions are usually driven by emotions, every action of Ayanokoji is based on pure logic. He shows no empathy, feels no guilt. But the question arises, is he a hyper-competent sociopath? Or just a person who had to bury his humanity to survive? Many people call him a cold-blooded manipulator. Some would say he lacks sympathy, guilt is absent, and self-interest is maximum. Some psychology experts might identify him with sociopathic tendencies, and they would not be wrong either. But saying just this would not be enough. Ayanokoji's personality can be understood through Carl Jung's shadow self concept. Jung believed that inside every person is a part they hide from the world, their fears, their desires, their darkness. But Ayanokoji did not suppress his shadow self. He accepted it and mastered it too. It is the shadow self that gives him the ability to make ruthless decisions without any emotional hesitation. Where most people get stuck in guilt, Ayanokoji has already taken action, and without changing any expression. When analyzing his behavior, two conflicting dimensions emerge: cold reason and emotional intelligence. Cold reason means seeing everything through the lens of numbers, logic, and consequences. This is Ayanokoji's core. For him, the world is a simulation and every human is a variable or resource. He does not give weight to emotions over logic. That is why his decisions are ruthless but effective. But this does not mean he is emotionally dumb. In fact, his emotional intelligence is very sharp. He accurately understands every person's emotions. He just does not get involved in them himself. He knows how to trigger someone, what decisions someone will make in insecurity, who is easy to manipulate, and he uses all of this so silently that the other person does not even understand. Ayanokoji's calm nature, his silent observation, and his presence without expression, all of this is part of his deep psychological conditioning. He was never taught to openly express his feelings. He only learned that feelings are a liability. He often keeps himself separate, away from groups, cautious of relationships, and completely detached from emotions. No one can understand him, and perhaps he does not want anyone to understand him either. A person who keeps an eye on everyone every moment, but is never visible himself. Who is he? Is he a villain or a soldier trained at the cost of his soul? To define Ayanokoji, perhaps the most accurate quote would be, "Logic is his religion. Power is his morality." For him, there is no absolute scale of right and wrong. What is effective is right. He never shows unnecessary cruelty, but he only shows mercy when he has some motive. Empathy can be a strategy for him, not reality. And then a question emerges. Is such a person dangerous, or is such a person the truest reflection of this world's cold reality? Ayanokoji's psychology is frightening because he shows us a mirror of what happens if you remove feelings from a human. Does he become more powerful, or just hollow? He forces us to think. Is it necessary to sacrifice humanity for survival? Does emotional numbness become a condition for brilliance? And if yes, then is any of us really normal? Ayanokoji is not a monster. He is a product, a creation that society made and then became afraid to recognize. His mind is a battlefield, and his biggest battle is going on inside himself. Ayanokoji Kiyotaka is not just a person. He is a question. If everything is taken away from a human, what does he become? God, machine, or shadow? To understand Ayanokoji Kiyotaka, you have to decode not his actions, but his intentions. What he shows is rarely his objective. The real game, he has been playing it for a long time, silently, invisibly, but in a completely calculated manner. His mind operates like a chessboard all the time, where every person, every emotion, every situation is just a piece, and he himself is the player. Ayanokoji never takes direct leadership, but every leader becomes part of his strategy. He used even strong characters like Karuizawa, Horikita, and even Ryuin for his benefit, and they did not even realize when they became part of someone else's plan. Karuizawa's case, an insecure, emotionally fragile girl always searching for acceptance. Ayanokoji understood her pain but did not show sympathy. Instead, he emotionally bound her. He became her savior, her protector, and in return, he turned Karuizawa into a loyal pawn. Felt that finally someone understands her, but in reality, Ayanokoji was controlling her. Horikita, another example. Strong, intelligent, but also arrogant. Ayanokoji subtly guided her. He neither led her nor opposed her. He just gradually brought her to a place where she started making decisions based on Ayanokoji's logic. She felt she was thinking herself, winning herself, but the truth is the victory kept being Ayanokoji's. Ryuin, perhaps Ayanokoji's boldest psychological victim. A person who believes in pure domination, controls through brute force, intimidation, and fear. But Ayanokoji broke him, not in a physical fight, but in mental warfare. He defeated Ryuin in his own game, without any emotional flair, just with cold logic and brutal efficiency. Ayanokoji's most dangerous skill is emotional blackmail without emotions. He does not threaten loudly, but when he catches someone's weakness, he does not let go. He makes the other person feel they have no other option, and on the strength of this fear, people work for him. His dialogues are few but impactful, shaking someone so much with just one line that they shift their entire loyalty. This is not everyone's cup of tea, and that line is not even dramatic. It is just simple enough. You must know how to use power, and how to break it too. Ayanokoji manipulates, but without guilt. For him, manipulation is not a crime. It is a necessity. There is no unnecessary drama in his strategies, just quiet execution. He sees every person as a piece, pawn, bishop, rook, knight, and sometimes queen, but he is always the king himself. Ayanokoji's brilliance is not what he makes people do, but that people do what he wants without understanding they are playing someone else's game. He does not make friends, but he makes people emotionally invest. He does not love, but he makes people feel they matter. And when his work is done, he coldly detaches, as if there was never any connection. Ayanokoji's strategies teach us that to win in the world, it is not necessary to run the fastest. Sometimes the one who stays the most silent controls the most. The mastermind is the one who is not visible, but every move is his, and Ayanokoji is the coldest, most dangerous, and most intelligent example of this definition. Looking at Ayanokoji Kiyotaka, the biggest question that arises is he a hero, a villain, or something beyond both? His actions seem right because he defeats the wrong people, but his methods are cold, manipulative, and emotionless. So the question arises, is Ayanokoji fighting evil, or is he himself a controlled version of evil? He never tolerates injustice, but in the name of justice, he can do anything extreme. He shows loyalty, but without any emotional commitment. His help, his alliances, everything is calculated. No move happens just because of humanity. There is always a silent motive hidden in it, but this does not mean there is nothing human inside him. Ayanokoji's most relatable aspect is this, his control, which is actually the armor of his pain. How many people smile every day but are broken inside? How many people do not show emotions because they are afraid they will become a weakness? How many people become so intelligent that they gradually become alone? Ayanokoji is the representation of millions of such people. People who cover their past, trauma, rejection, and loneliness with hyper-control. People who do not trust anyone because Ayanokoji's biggest fear is not losing feelings, but that if he ever starts feeling openly, he might break. So now the question is for you. Would you want to become like Ayanokoji? Or perhaps that is why some people fear Ayanokoji and some understand it. Because he does not represent good and evil. He represents the gray zone where people just survive, do not feel. And perhaps this is the truest color of the world.
But Horikita, I've never considered you an ally. Not even for a second. Not you, not Kushida, not Hirata. People are nothing but tools to me, all of them. I don't care what I have to do to win. I don't care what I have to sacrifice. In this world, winning is everything. And in the end, I'm going to win. That's all that matters.